all on this Sunday afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank Promec Institute for inviting me in this series, in this wonderful series which has been organized. And about though Abhimanyu has introduced me, I am from IT field, and yes, I have executed some complex projects, programs, and now I am managing big portfolios for different verticals, different geographies. Those who are not talking, can they go on mute?
Hello?
Yeah. So, and certainly today's the topic we have chosen very different topic, that is failure. Why project fail? So if you see whatever the seminar has happened, communication management, stakeholder management, or even risk management or financial management, why we are doing all those practices or why these seminars have happened, eventually we want to succeed our projects, right? And that's why we adopt all those practices. In fact, there was a wonderful session was on projectize your life, right? Those fundamentals even apply to your personal life as well. We do the risk management, we do financial management, communication, stakeholder management. Same fundamentals apply to your businesses, enterprise, whatever you are handling, because in fact, even your business or enterprise is culmination of small projects which you want to bring into your business to further succeed. But still, projects fail, programs fail, corporates fail, entrepreneurs fail, people fail. Yes, that is a fact. In spite of putting all the tools and techniques, best practices, it is failed because end of the day, we are humans. And there are certain characteristics of human which take to the failures, right? So with this, it is very, very important for us to study the failure. So with that, I will start for today's session. So my screen is visible to all, right? Abhimanyu, is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, thanks. So first, I would start with some of the stories which you all of must be aware of, and some very, very big failures. I think all of must you have heard or aware. I will take the first example or first story of Kodak. I think all of us, there was a time we used to use the rolls and films, right? And Kodak was one of the company, whenever we have to buy the films, we used to that, okay, no, we will buy of Kodak only. And those cameras were very famous. We were so used to of buying that roll of 16 films, 32 films. And today Kodak is not there. People think that digital camera has revolutionized the world and that has overtaken the Kodak, and that's why the company has collapsed. But you won't believe, the company which first invented the digital camera, it was Kodak itself. And in spite of that, today Kodak is nowhere. It has completely failed. Second example I will take of Reliance Communication. Always we know Reliance and is a success. Both are as a synonyms. And in early 2000s, around 2003 and 2004, Anil Ambani has started the Reliance Communications with the CDMA technology. And that was a big failure. In spite of having Reliance, the big name, and all the tools, all the technologies, all the funding, it failed, right? Then after that, the third example I would like to take from the real life examples of Everest. There in 1996, there was one Everest expedition happened where two veterans of Everest veteran, Richard and Fisher Hall, they had done very successful Everest expedition. But in spite of that, and they were very confident, this is another Everest expedition, but that was a major accident in the history of Everest expedition, and many of the people died. The full group was died, only one person remained alive, as far as maybe the figures might be wrong. In spite of having all the expertise, and they used all the project management techniques, financial resources, risk management, everything. Another fourth example I will take from the science and research. Year February 2003, you might have heard the Columbia shuttle, which was taken off from US Kennedy Center. And it was one of the very prestigious project of US President George Bush at that time. And one of the very competent project manager, Linda Hem, was executing that project. She was the mission control member, and she was executing that entire project from the ground. But when the shuttle, it was re-entering into the earth, then it has completely disintegrated. And in fact, that incident we all Indian know, because Kalpana Chawla was one of the person in that, and that was a major failure, right? I would take one more example. The last, see, there are so many examples, but I have chosen some particular example for our today's discussion. One more I will take, the Silicon Valley startup. There was a company called Theranos, and it was started by some Elizabeth Holmes, very young entrepreneur, who was failed out from Stanford. And she was so aspirational. She has created one device which will do your blood testing, and you can detect any kind of disease before the anything major happens, cancer or anything. And that was, she started getting compared with Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, and she was one of the youngest billionaire, but the company eventually collapsed. So if you see, whatever I have taken the example, all the good project management techniques were used. They were all successful people. They have done many successful projects in the past. They were having all the manpower. They were having all the funds. They have all the expertise, but still they failed, because it's a human tendency. We have as a human certain characteristics which takes us to failure, right? So with these few stories, I will start today's our discussion. So point number one, why to study failures? It is very, very important for us to study failures, right? Because both success and excellence are not permanent. See, sometimes even people think Mukesh Ambani may not fail, or Anil Ambani may not fail, but success is never, never permanent for anyone. The same way, failures are also not permanent. It happens. Failures are the only thing which is make you learn, and which is the I would say, which make you learn so many things, and that becomes your next step for success. So failing fast and learn fast. The one more important point is strategic decline versus strategic failure. Failures are good. Let's embrace them. But we have to learn from each failure, make it as a strategic failure, and make sure that this your one failure should become the success for next failure. If you are not learning from one failure become another failure, another third failure, fourth failure, and then it become the strategic decline. Failures are good, but declines are not good. So whatever the 5 cases or the 5 stories I have narrated in a very brief, they didn't learn from some failure during the execution time or from their earlier venture, and eventually it went into strategic decline, right? So we have to embrace the failure, learn from the failure, and make sure those failures should not become our decline. So it's a very famous quote for Winston Churchill: success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Hence, the point number 1, it is very, very important for us to study the failures. Point number 2, why failure happens, right? So as the examples I have quoted, in spite of all the successful practices, still those failure happens. There are 3 factors: individual factors, group factors, and organizational factors. See, many of the time that failure and success, we tell it's a destiny or it is a luck. That's a very easy thing to say. But if we analyze certain failures which we own are responsible, we live in a very complex and dynamic world, right? And we have to sustain in that world certain times, certain things which are beyond our control. That is called the group factor and organization factor. We have to learn how to fight in this dynamic world and how to sustain for any complex situation. So number 1, individual factors, the cognitive bias. What is cognitive bias? Most of the time we take our decision with the preconceived notion and idea. We just create our own subjectivity and we do not want to change. And we always take decision based on that. Kodak. The famous engineer, his name was Steve Sasson. And when he created the digital camera, he went to his boss and he told, see, this is the digital camera, we should launch this. Then his boss told, please don't share it. Who will like the pictures on a printed form, right? Sorry, on the tiny screens or on your phones. People like to touch and feel. So that was the subjective reality, that we do not want to change the things which we put into mind. We do not, and that eventually led to failure. So Kodak didn't hear. The first company who created the digital camera, that in fact that even they didn't, they just with that cognitive bias, that fact that only people will like the pictures on the printed paper, apart from nothing else, and that eventually led to failure. Hubris effect. Hubris is the characteristics of excessive confidence and arrogance, and which leads a person to a belief that he or she may never do any wrong. And this overwhelming pride caused by hubris is often lead to great disaster. I will take again the example of Reliance. I do not want to describe it further, but at some point of time, Anil has a lot of hubris, lot of overconfidence that he may never fail, he may never go wrong, and eventually that his hubris take him into the failure. Everest. Rob Hall and Scott Fishers. When one of this Everest veteran, he was talking to his wife and he told, anyway, I have done so many successful expeditions, I can never fail, right? And that much, so much of overconfidence was there. In that overconfidence, he took many wrong decisions, and that took the lot of lives of the people. And that was one of the greatest failure in the history. The third is sunk cost fallacy. Many times individuals keep continue with wrong decision, though they know that investment done so far is not going to bring any positive results. They keep doing the investment, they know that this is not going to succeed, but they think, I have done so many investment in this venture, in this project. Now let's continue in spite of having the wrong practices, and eventually it collapses and it fails. Again, I will take the example here of Reliance. See, I will tell you what is the major reason of Reliance failure. Reliance has come that time, telecom was a boom. So Anil had thought, okay, let me venture into the telecom, and he started his business with the CDMA technology, which was not at all the robust technology. There were a lot of flaws in the technology. In fact, roaming was not allowed. And in that he has made lot of investment at the time while the GSM was coming popular, but that was become his pride, and he was with that same thought that I have invested so much, let me continue, and that has become the sunk cost fallacy, and that it has collapsed. Everest, again I will take the same example. See, this Richard and Fisher, they were the two Everest veterans who used to charge a very hefty and very thick amount for this Everest expedition. So most of the people in that group, they were like some famous personality. Everybody cannot afford that amount. So in fact, in that group, some famous journalists and all those were there. And when they were just in the last step, that is called the Hillary step. If you read any of the book on the Everest, there is a very nice book, though I haven't read, In Thin Air. If you get a chance, please read it. So when they are in the last step, the weather conditions were very, very worst. But that was become that so much of their pride, they thought that we have reached almost at the last point. And if we go back, it is like it was against their ego. And that one wrong decision, eventually that whole event was collapsed. So these are the individual factors which many times lead to failures. The next is group factors. Sometimes we say that I am not responsible for some XYZ reason. This failure has happened in your project or in your program which you are executing, or even in your self goals, or even the enterprise or company you are running. So what is groupthink? Groupthink is a phenomena that occurs when group of individuals reaches a consensus without critical reasoning or evaluation of the consequences or alternative, because they do not want to create a conflict in the group. So one person says it is yes, others say it is yes, everyone keeps saying yes, because they do not want to create a conflict. And even they think that things are not in the right direction, they keep continuing. Same was the exactly case in the example of Everest. So when the Richard and Rob, they started this expedition, some of the locally, some very good shepherds joined them, and they used to help them and guide all the people, those who are in the group. So that in that particular time, in that expedition, weather conditions were very, very bad, very bad. And in fact, they had taken some wrong steps. When they started, their oxygens were not sufficient. Their tents were not sufficient. But because they were junior and they always have the fact that Rob and Scott, they are the experts. Many times they wanted to say that, please, let's go back. It is not safe. But because of that, do not wanted to create conflict, they didn't deny. Then next is the group factor, shared beliefs. Shared beliefs is typically what? A common or shared belief which might be erroneous or may not hold good for a condition, lead to wrong decisions and eventually causes of failures, right? So here I will take the example of Colombo. See what happens that when Colombo spacecraft was took off, some of the debris hit into the left wing and that has created some hole and foam was coming out, right? And the Linda Ham, who was a project manager who was controlling this mission. So in the 16 days, she conducted many meetings. But every time that shared beliefs comes, we have executed so many this space shuttle program, and coming this foam or creating this, hitting this debris is a very common thing. Let's ignore them and it will be successful. And eventually, but that getting that foam creation in that left wing, the reason might be different, right? Every time that whatever the result you are saying, it may not be because of the same reason. They ignored the fact and we know the result, right? So these are the group factors. So where the whoever the project manager or entrepreneur or we as a person, that our capability comes and that our expertise, in spite of that something is wrong, group think something other, but me as a project manager, me as a program manager, I have to take the holistic decision rather than by going by a group, right? The last one is the organization factors. Number one, system complexity. So system, we know there are many complex systems, there are many stakeholders, many functions, many departments, but what happens that every system complexity is different and we have to choose the strategy and decision making. Strategy and decision making is not a defined rules or something. It is an art and science which a smart project manager or smart entrepreneur has to learn according to the situation and implement it. So Linda Ham, when she was executing the project, right, it was a very complex system. From the ground, she was controlling all the missions and she used to have the meetings with the engineering department, photography department, thermal department, but it in that bringing them together and taking the decisions that yes, left wing have been hit and we have to analyze the picture. She never took the decision and that eventually led to the failure, right? So every system is different. Even Everest, that was very complex. Complexity was because of the weather conditions. Active inertia. Active inertia is typically believing and practicing the old process and strategy. Company believes so much in proven practices that they overlook to see the new threats. Kodak example. See, Kodak business was successful on a very business phenomenon, business rule they call as a razor and blade model. So those who know, typically, just briefly, I will explain what is a razor and blade model. Typically, many of the companies they first sell the razors, maybe razors in a very low margin. And then after that, the consumable you sell into the high margin blades. So once consumer will buy the razor and which you have sold at a very low margin, eventually the consumer have invested, they will keep continue to buying the films and all those things. So the same strategy Kodak has chosen. They have sold the cameras, very low margin, and they put the strategy that yes, this is the only successful business strategy. And now people are using Kodak camera, they will always keep buying the films. But that every time, whatever your one strategy may not hold good. And same thing has happened, other Fuji and other Chinese or many other companies, they started launching the digital camera, but still they were arguing in the same, no, that people would like only the pictures which they can feel and touch. And after that, once they realized, no, the digital camera is the age, it was too late and they were behind the race and it failed. Eventually, it failed. Same is the case is Columbia. When it was told multiple times that should we analyze the pictures when the takeoff, some foam is looking into the left wing, but a lot of time it went, we have done so many of execution of the successful space shuttle and this is very common and let's ignore it. And they gone ahead with that overall that Columbia mission, and eventually it failed. The last is external threats. As I was telling, we live in a world, very dynamic and uncertainty world, and sometimes the external threats which are beyond our control, we have to be very strategic, we have to be very dynamic as a project manager and take the decisions. For Everest mission, the external threat was this weather condition. When one of the Sherpas told to Richard that, see, this time the weather conditions looks very different, I think we should go back. Then Richard told, no, I have seen that many times, and this weather conditions are very normal. It will be normal after some time. They ignored that external threat, and that mission was never successful, and eventually we lost the life of so many people, right? So the number points, yes, we have to embrace the failure. Failure happened, then second thing, you have to analyze the failure, why it happens. It may be your individual factors, it may be the group which you are working, it may be some organization factor, but as a program manager, project manager, or entrepreneur, you have to find the strategy that what to do this with these failures. The third point, resilience and rising from failure. As I told, eventually we are human beings. Failure will happen, but we have to embrace the failure and we have to be resilient from those failures, right? So build the resilience. So number one, cultivate a belief in your ability to cope. Each person is unique. You have some strength and some weakness. Please believe in your strengths. Accept the change. As we always say, the only permanent thing in this world is the change. So if some changes have happened, if you fail, accept and go on. The point number third, stay connected with source of support, which many times we ignore it. If you fail, talk to your boss, talk to your peers, talk to your team members, and you will get some or other support. It always may not be support, maybe in form of a tangible support. It is an emotional support also. Sometimes in our personal life also, we fail in some event and we feel so nervous, but please talk to someone and you will get some or other new thing, and that is very, very important. Next point is act. Again, as a human, it is a tendency when we fail, or some module of the project is failed and we just put the project on hold and we say, okay, let's ignore it. That's a very wrong thing. Please continue, keep acting. The moment you stop acting, the moment you bring into the dormant state or zombie state, and that will lead it to definitely failure and even to the decline. So keep acting. Always remember, nothing is permanent, right? Neither success are permanent, nor failure are permanent. If you are succeeding, I think sometimes they fail, right? So nothing is permanent. The last important point is, don't try to solve the problem with the same thinking that created them. As a human, we always do the same mistake. Anil Ambani, he had done a lot of investment in the CDMA technology, and he was keep doing. When he have closed that venture that failed, with the same mistake he has done, he started another new venture, I think some DTH TV and all those things, and done huge investment. In spite of that, it was his investment was a huge failure. He did the same mistake. And we know today where is or whatever, the company is completely bankrupt. So when you fail, please analyze why you have failed and don't try to solve the problem with the same thinking that we always do as a human, as a mistake. So in a project, whatever in the industry, whatever is the vertical, whatever is the geography you're executing, if your one module failed or if your one phase failed, please see what different you have to do to solve it or to succeed it next time, right? So building resilience and rising from failure, the point number third, it is very important. As a very famous quote from Nelson Mandela, do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again, right? So point number three, dear friends, please build resilience. That is very, very important. The point number four, fine. Now we know that we have to embrace the failure. We have to analyze what are the reasons of the failure, build the resilience and build self-confidence in yourself. And the number fourth is, if failure is happening, take that learning and then from your next venture, your next module, or your next project, prevent that failure. So these are the very 5 major category which always you have to keep to prevent failure. One is the financial health. It hold goods for your projects, your programs, for your enterprise, or as all of you have attended the session, projectize your life. So even in your whole life, when you're executing a project, check the financial health always time. How much revenue it is coming up, how much cost it is coming up, what is the cash flow. That is very important. If your operating margins are going low at one particular time, means there is some problem at in some particular module at some corner of the project. So for a project manager, it is very important from the day one, you have to keep checking your revenue, cost, operating margin, cash flow, investment, all that financial things. That is very important. The point number 2, constant evaluation of business model, innovation, and strategy. This is more hold good for an enterprise or corporates. So typically, again, I'm repeating, enterprise or whatever business you are running, it is a culmination of so many projects, right? When you're running a business, then in the business, you run so many projects. So for a business, always you have to keep evaluating your business model. What is business model? What are the values you are providing to the customer? What is your profit formula? What are your resources? What are your vendors and all those things? There's a whole ecosystem you have to, in a 360-degree, keep evaluating. Innovation and strategy. World is dynamic. Please think how you can innovate your project, how you can innovate your business. Always try to bring some innovation and strategy in your business, whatever you're executing. The point number 3, integrated performance evaluation. For a project manager, when you are running a complex project, you have to analyze your financial health, you have to analyze your people health, you have to analyze your risk, you have to analyze your issue, you have to analyze your different modules. Many times project manager ignores one aspect, and that led to the failure. Again, I will take the example of Columbia, shuttle space, Columbia, that failure was there. It was a very complex project. Different module was there. One was a photography division, one was a thermal system, one was an engineering system. Every department used to come to the Linda. Yeah, everything is fine. But she never tried to bring all the things together and did the integrated performance evaluation, right? And that has led to failure, because there the condition was different. When the debris hit the left wing, some hole was created, and when it was re-entering into the earth, so because of the friction with air, lot of gases went inside the shuttle, and then it disintegrated, right? So whatever your project is, a small or complex, make sure as a project manager, when you are checking your health of the project, do the integrated performance evaluation. Maybe I took the example of financial health. If financial health is good, it doesn't mean that your project is going good. You have to look what are the risks are going on, what are the different modules, and bring the synergy in every module and everything. That is very much important. The 4th point is assess the relationship. There is no science and art for relationship that you have to build. You have to build the relationship with your vendors. You have to build the relationship with your customer. You have to build the relationship with your boss. And many times, many of the project managers ignore building the relationship with their junior team members or their subordinates, maybe which are below in hierarchy. Every stakeholder is a very, very important when the project you are executing or program you are executing or your company you are running, or even I say in your personal life. I always see that relationships are very important thing, and both your personal and professional life complement each other. So please invest into the relationship. For any successful person, this is very, very important thing. The 5th point is check on aspirational intensification. Sometimes we are so aspirational. Project managers become so aspirational. They want to put the speed and they want to execute the project very fast because there's a lot of stake on that project, right? In fact, even this Columbia shuttle, George Bush, it was a lot of aspiration, and it was one of the very aspirational political project at the time. But when you are not keeping a tab on your aspirational intensification, that led to the big failure. Here I will take again the story which I have told of Theranos. The Elijah Beth Holmes, who was one very young entrepreneur entrepreneur. She was so aspirational. She started getting compared with the Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, and she used to be called at that time that another Steve Jobs of Silicon Valley. And she wanted to grow, and she, in that aspirational intensification, that medical device, that name, it is called Edison. It was not foolproof, and still she launched into the market because she wanted to bring the revenue fast. But at one point of time, that whatever her too much of intensified aspirations were there, that led to failure, and today that company is bankrupt. So there is a very good book, again I am quoting, the book name is Bad Blood, that talk about the Theranos and how Elizabeth story. If you get a chance, please read it. So we have learned 4 points. Number one, we have to embrace the failure. Second thing, we should know the reason of failure. The number third is we have to build the resilience from failures, cultivate belief in yourself. The fourth point is, yes, failure had happened, but analyze those failure, and then in your next venture, please prevent the failure with some best practices and whatever the learning you have done. Point number 5, right? See, failure will happen. We as a human being will do the mistakes. Few days, some time back, I have attended one very good session of Rajat Gupta from McKinsey. So he was one of the failure. He was kind of he went to the jail. So he very beautifully, he said one thing: as long as you are doing the mistake, it is fine, but don't do the crime. Crimes are bad, but mistakes are not bad, right? So your failures and core values have to go together. Whatever the adverse conditions, don't forget about your core values. So there is a very famous quote from Joe Batten: our value is the sum of our values. So failure, resilience, and value system, it has to go hands in hand, right? So whatever is the adverse condition, whatever is the failure, we never ever leave your value system. Do right and right thing will happen to you. Trust me, please put in your mind, do right and right thing will happen to you. Building relationship and trust are very, very important. Very important in any of your project. No project management technique will be there on building the relationship and trust. This is that you have to do, it's an art and science, and from the day one, you have to keep 360 view and build relationship and trust. The last point is professional success is more important than career success. See, we all know we run behind money. We all, our worth is, we tell, okay, today we maintain so much of financial, or I hold this position, and we all run about behind the career success. That's fine. I know everybody wants career success, but build professional success, not career success. Once you are building that professional success, career success will come on its own. What is professional success? Whatever work you are doing, whatever project you are doing, please put your full energy, take your interest into that, and make sure that project, whatever you are doing it is adding some value to some business. And then once you are doing your professional, focusing on values and putting your emphasis in the mind is the professional success, your career success will always come along with that, right? So that is something very, very important. I think Elizabeth Holmes, she focused on that from Theranos, on the career success. Anil, he focused on the career success. If they would have focused on professional success, I think the situation would have been different, right? So the point number 5 is failure will happen. You have to analyze the failure, build the resilience from the failure, prevent the failure. In all these 4 points, don't forget about core values. That is very, very important. So this is the last, this is a very little bit longer quote from Mahatma Gandhi, but I will read it, and please, just every word in this quote is very, very important. Keep your thoughts positive, because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive, because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive, because your behavior becomes your habits. Keep your habits positive, because your habits become your values. Keep your values positive, because your values become your destiny, right? So many times we say that this is the destiny, success and failure are destiny. But eventually we are the people who have to build our destiny, no one else. And that is our value system, right? So with this last quote, I will summarize the today's session. And we started with some of the stories which went into, those who are not talking, can they go on mute, please? So we started our session today with some of the failures which went into the strategic decline. If they would have embraced the failure, they would have studied and they would have prevented those failure, that it would not have become the strategic decline. But at the same time, we have so many examples in the history where failures have become the strategic success. And just maybe I will be on this slide for the some time. So Steve Jobs, he was the founder of Apple, and there was a time when he was sacked or he was fired from his own company. But today still we know where is the Apple. Abraham Lincoln failed his business 3 times and failed campaign 7 times prior to become the president of United States. Bill Gates was a Harvard University dropout and his first business, Trafford date, was a failure. Right? And Thomas Edison teachers told he was too stupid to learn anything. So we started our story with, or our today's discussion with, some of the failures which eventually led into the strategic decline. But same, we have so many examples where their failure was strategic and that has become into the success. So the last message to everyone, please embrace your failure. Learn from those failure, analyze the reason from the failure, prevent those failure, and most important is build resilience, right? And sometimes monitor your emotions before they start monitoring you. We have to control our emotions. Many of the times our anger or nervousness, it start controlling us, and we get into the zombie state and we stop doing the things. So master your emotions before they start mastering you. And this is the last slide which I have specifically kept for our young people, because maybe all they know, these are some Indian famous personality: Dhirubhai Ambani, Amitabh Bachchan, Nawaz Siddiqui, Shah Rukh Khan, Rajnikant. Maybe read their story. They started with the zero, and the way they have got their failures, but every time they have embraced those failure, learned from that failure, and today we know where we are. So with this note, I will just close today's sessions, and thanks again to Promec for giving me this opportunity. And if any questions, we can take. Hand over, Abhimanyu, to you.